All right, everybody, welcome back to Recliner Sports Talk. I'm Nick.
I'm Brandon.
All right, and we are back for episode 14. 14 of these bad boys. Today, got a nice schedule for you here. So we're going to go quarterbacks, obviously draft coming up. So draft quarterbacks. We obviously know Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback, but who is number two? And who is our dark horse quarterback of the draft? It seems like there's always that one that seems to pop up every now and again. Who could that be? Little baseball talk. Obviously, LA, baseball town now. You know, obviously you got the Lakers and Clippers, but watch out. We got the Padres and we got the Dodgers. And then lastly, our top 5 sports documentaries. There's some great ones out there. Just trying to pick. I know it's tough for me. So we'll hop right into things here. So again, Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall pick. Put it on the clock just like Joe Burrow last year. But who is, in your opinion, Brandon, the second best quarterback in this draft, in your opinion?
I'll go, dude, in my opinion, and this is record-wise, this is tape-wise, this is everything. I think Justin Fields is number 2. I don't know how people are saying anything different. Yeah, the whole Ohio State quarterbacks never make it. Well, Justin Fields, you can't compare him to Dwayne Haskins, to JT Barrett, to other Ohio State quarterbacks. He's a different breed. You can't compare that. I hate when people always bring up the past, like when they bring up Notre Dame can't win in the big games. When they're bringing up teams from 2012, it's not the same team. Justin Fields is not those same guys. He's totally different. With that being said, I do believe he's the second best quarterback in football, in college football. I never understood why Zach Wilson all of a sudden is getting the hype. He played in BYU, and he's not playing the best competition. I'm not saying Ohio State played the best competition, but I don't get it. Like, he wasn't even on the radar until this year. No one knew about him. I knew about Trey Lance. I did not even know about this guy. Yes, he's athletic and mobile, and he's a little tough guy. He's short. He's like 6'1", maybe tops. But I don't know. He's got a strong arm, but I just feel like he's going to be a bust. He reminds me of Johnny Manziel a lot. Not personality-wise, obviously, but just like the way his style plays. I watched him versus Coastal Carolina. If you can't beat Coastal Carolina's defense, what are you going to do in the NFL? It's not like you're a prototypical, just drop back and pass quarterback. This guy, it doesn't really do much for me. I almost put Mac Jones too, but I think Justin Fields, when we're talking pro, he's going to be the better pro. I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to be bad. I think Mac Jones is I think the worst Mac Jones will end up being is A.J. McCarron, an Alabama quarterback. He'll be a solid backup, maybe the 36th best quarterback in the NFL. Is his least, like, the worst he can do. I think best, I mean, I'd hate to say it, but he can be pretty good. He can be top 15 maybe one day. I think Mac Jones has the potential to be a fairly decent quarterback in this league. I hesitated. I almost put him at 3 or at 2, but I'm going to put him at 3. But yeah, Justin Fields, man, I hated him because I'm not an Ohio State fan. But if you take bias away and you watch the game and you watch Justin Fields play, he's a winner. I mean, the dude, what is he, 30-something and 2 or something like that? Like,
Record there.
He doesn't lose.
Yeah. So obviously that's a great pick. I'm an Ohio State fan. I've gotten to watch him the past 2 years, and he's been awesome. And 2, he wasn't recruited to Ohio State immediately. Sorry, he didn't commit there. He was Georgia, then Ohio State. Like you said, not that typical Ohio State quarterback that's just stat filler. Even though he did produce a lot of stats. So I agree. I think Mac Jones, the thing I want to see is him not with the best, because you could argue that this was the best team ever that he just played on. You know what I mean? So yeah. I would like to see him when he's not, his 1 year playing is not with the best team ever,
Fair.
I'd
That's
like to see him
fair.
in some pressure. Like, could he have put up the numbers that Joe Burrow did last year in that crappy situation in Cincinnati? I don't think he could. You know, again, not because arm talent, but I think with all that pressure, look, Joe Burrow's out with an ACL. What would he have done with
Well,
all?
that's the O-line, man. I mean,
That's what I'm
Cincinnati's
saying.
O-line is
What is Mac Jones
brutal.
doing in that same situation? Joe Burrow, obviously that clear cut. Fields, again, really big top talent. The big thing about Fields, and you could say this about a couple quarterbacks, he's also had some really good receivers. He has. And two, if you've watched enough Ohio State games like I do, Ohio State's wide receiver you, at least from the fact of how good they are in college. Okay.
Yeah,
These dudes are
just
open by
tight
10
end.
yards so much. And I think that was the thing on Dwayne Haskins, which can you blame him when these guys are wide open to have all these numbers? So I think that's a big thing. And then Zach Wilson, he is intriguing. So the thing that's intriguing is he was a really good freshman, had a crappy sophomore year, and then had a really good junior year back on the scene. But here's the thing, he's playing with 28-year-olds, you know? And again,
At
yeah,
BYU, yeah.
and Kyle in the pros, he will too, but he wouldn't be playing against a bunch of 19 to 21-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the maturity was carried for him. He did not have to be the most mature guy on the team because guys were riding in minivans showing up to practice with 3 kids in the back. You know what I mean? So my number 2, and I only say this because of how high I think the ceiling can be. Trey Lance is the number 2. Now, he will not be drafted number 2 by any means. But here's the thing that I think helps him be the second best quarterback in this draft. He might get an opportunity to pair up with a team like Carolina, where they will have a solid run game. Guess what North Dakota State has? A very solid run game. And guess what? He's very smart with the ball. He did play in this one game the one game this year where he's 50%. I think he was 15 for 30, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That 1 interception was more than any other reception he had the full season last year. 2019, he was 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had a 67% completion percentage. So that tells me he's smart with the ball and relies on the run. Now we know Carolina has 2 running backs. We know that. So again, hey, we're going to be run first. And guess what? He's 20. Guess who else they have there? Teddy Bridgewater. He can sit for a year or two and then ride out and still get another 2 or 3 years with McCaffrey under that big contract. So again, I'm saying Trey Lance because the ceiling is so high and he might get to pair up with not one of these like the Jets or one of these crappy teams. He's going to get paired with a lot of talent. I'm saying Trey Lance. Now, Brandon, we've discussed the number 2 quarterback. Who is your dark horse? I think we might have the same one here. Who is it?
I think Kyle Trask is my dark horse. I'm not even hearing him brought up in the first 5 quarterbacks taken, not even in the conversation. I mean, we're talking a guy who could have won the Heisman, and he looked good at Florida, and I don't get it. Like, yes, he had Tony, and he had Kyle Pitts, and he had good play calling. I understand that. But so did Mac Jones. I don't understand why Kyle Trask isn't getting round 1 looks. I read something today. They said, oh, maybe late round 2, round 3 for Kyle Trask. Man, if he's there in round 2, I'm taking him. If I'm the Jets, I'm gonna be completely honest. That first round pick, I'm not taking a quarterback. I'm getting the best player available. If Trask is there at 2, I'm taking him. If not, I'm riding with Darnold. I'm riding with him. That's what I'd do if I'm the Jets.
I'd ride with Darnold. I think Trask is Darnold 2.0 in a way.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. If we're talking the dark horse of the draft, that's not a bad thing at all. But the Jets are in an intriguing spot. I 100% agree with that. All right. Well, my pick, actually, I thought Brandon was going to pick this. He probably knows who I'm going to pick now. The guys that get picked late that have a lot of college success, I think are always in a dark horse situation. Someone that had great college success, someone that was smart, 68 touchdowns to 16 interceptions over 3 years. and he never had a lower than 60% completion percentage. And he had some of the most pressure as any Power Five school. I'm saying Ian Book is the dark horse of the draft. Now, listen, I want to say, Brandon, tell me, out of all the top tier teams, besides tight end, did Notre Dame have crazy receivers and running backs? Obviously, I know they had Higgins, right? And Clay, was Claypool there too? But again,
Yeah.
this year he didn't have either of those guys.
Well, they
And
have good tight ends.
I know you've watched a lot of them, but he's a guy that's going to go somewhere. Just look what happened to Dak, right? Dak went somewhere where he's supposed to be the backup, or ended up earning the second string spot, got a chance to get in, boom, did well. And I think that's something that Ian Book already looks 30 years old, so he's going to go in there. And he's a guy that's been a leader. The records the past years for him, 12-1, 11-2, 10-2. That's pretty successful right there. So again, if I'm not picking the super talented underdog, I'm going to pick the guy that had a bunch of success. Tom Brady, when he got in college, had success. And I'm not comparing Ian Book to Tom Brady, but I'm saying these guys that go to successful programs and get kind of overlooked, I think those are the guys that can be the dark horses. So that's.
I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think Ian Book has a lot of work to be done. His problem, and this is me being a Notre Dame fan, his problem, he'll drop back, right? He always has great protection. Honestly, Notre Dame's offensive line they're better as a rushing offensive line, but they're great at pass protecting. He's had plenty of time. His issue is he'll drop back, he'll look, and he will never pull the trigger right away.
Yeah,
he loves to scramble, and then he'll throw it. He won't drop back, do a 3-step drop back, and then throw it. He never does that. I don't think he's confident in throwing in tight windows. I think he's only confident throwing to open receivers or like on the run, getting angle. Like on, let's say there's double slants across the middle. He'll roll to the right, and then he'll wait for the receiver to go across the field on a slant, and then he'll throw it when he knows he can't miss it. He'll just throw it ahead of the receiver, worst case, and it misses that way. He doesn't throw interceptions because he's a little too timid. You can't be timid in the NFL. You won't make it. You have to take those shots, and his tight end play has really helped him. That's where a lot of his chunk plays come from. Michael Mayer this year, the freshman tight end for Notre Dame, he'll be a first-round pick when he's eligible, but that dude's a beast. He loves going – he's not a big, I'm going to throw it downfield. Yes, with Claypool, they did that a lot, but Claypool is a mismatch. For the most part, if you don't have that receiving core with a field stretcher, Ian Book, I'm not saying he can't do it. He's a very intelligent dude, you can tell. I think he just needs to work on that. You got to trust your arm strength.
Yeah, and I think I saw some mock drafts that said to Philly late. But I think, again, he's a guy that could go into a place with the older guy and sit there and say, I am going to pull the trigger. Coach can say, pull that trigger early. If you throw picks, you're not starting. So why not work on it now? And that's when these type of guys get better. Who knows? But yeah, so there you go. You got our number 2 quarterback in the draft and our dark horses there. Okay. Now we're going to change gears a little bit. Baseball pitchers and catchers are in.
Let's go.
Baseball is here. I really do think this is a great year for a team like the Yanks to sneak one out, because I think the East is strong, but I think they could win the East very likely. And then when you get in the World Series, anything can happen. But going away from Brandon's Yanks, and especially staying away from my Phillies there, 2 teams in LA. LA, man, what's up with all this, right? They've gotten some great sports right there in LA, and obviously San Diego's right there, but just California sports period have been balling. Okay. So Brandon, Dodgers, obviously, World Series champs, Mookie Betts, everybody, Trevor Bauer, or San Diego Padres. Obviously, listen, that's the young, exciting team, right? Tatis Jr., face of baseball right now.
Machado.
Put in face of baseball. Who's better?
Who's better? Nick. I mean, Vegas has the Dodgers over under at 102.5 games. That's pretty damn high. Padres are actually third behind the Yankees and Dodgers with like, I want to say it's 95 or 0.5 or something like that. So Vegas is expecting the Padres to do well.
Yeah.
Only behind the Yankees and Dodgers. So that's pretty damn well. I think we have, I'm going to say Dodgers easily right now. And I'll explain. I think the Padres have the potential in the future to be there. But this year, I don't think it will happen. The Dodgers just won it all. We saw that. And they're adding Bauer, who balled out with the Reds. Yes, Bauer is a head case. I get that. But guess what? When he does pitch, teams usually win. Remember last year, we bet on we ended up winning that parlay.
Yeah.
That the Reds at that time were, I don't know, they were like 2-10. They were terrible. But I knew Trevor Bauer was pitching and they were like the underdog or something like that. It's like, yeah, they're going to win this. Bet on Bauer. You don't go against Bauer. Plus, dude, they still have Walker Buehler. They still have Clayton Kershaw. They still have all these guys. That's just starting pitching. They had the best starting pitching, in my opinion. The Padres are up there as well. But again, the Padres, they're young team. Young teams don't always pan out, unfortunately. They get all this hype. Yeah, they do have talent. They show flashes here and there, but they're not veterans. Padres weren't even in the playoffs last year. I don't know. How are you going to go from not in the playoffs to I'm the best team in baseball in one off season? You got to click, especially in COVID year. It's going to be different with spring training and just games in general. I can't put the Padres that high. I have them in the, top 10, obviously. I mean, top 7 probably. But I think they're a tad bit overrated, to be honest. I think people were drinking the Kool-Aid. I think people were just living in the moment and seeing all these headlines for the Padres. I'm not a big Machado guy as is. I don't think he's a team player. I don't know. I just don't. I get a weird vibe from Machado. Maybe because I'm a Yankees fan and he was on the Orioles, and I just hate the Orioles more than like any team besides the Red Sox. I just don't like Baltimore for some reason. But no, Machado doesn't do it for me. The Padres, yes, they're good. Tatis, okay, he's good. Now, is he worth $340 million? I'd argue no. I mean, he's getting more than Mookie Betts, right? Or he's getting almost the same as Mookie Betts. He's getting more than Machado already.
Yeah, he's the 4th most in the majors, I'm pretty sure.
That's insane. What, Garrett Cole, Mookie Betts, and Mike Trout, I think, are higher.
I don't want to say it's Garrett Cole. I'm trying to think who it is.
Garrett Cole makes like $380 million.
Maybe it is. Well, here's the Padres did make the playoffs last year. They got swept by the Dodgers.
They did make it, okay.
Next round. But like you said, pitching, that's going to be this. All these hitters, Mookie Betts, Tatis, all these guys, right? It's the pitching for me. Listen, Dodgers can go. Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, Urias, David Price, and then Dustin May can sit there.
Not beating them.
And be their reliever. That in-between guy. Oh, they need a scratch start. Boom, there we go. Oh, we need a guy out of the pen in a pinch for a long situation. Dustin May, great pitcher, great young pitcher. He doesn't even have to start for him because David Price is their 5th starter. I don't care what Trevor Bauer says, pitching every 4 days. He's dumb. It's not going to happen because they have the pitching to say, hey, buddy, I know you've never done it except for the 1 year in Cleveland where you were messing with a drone and cut up your finger. But guess what? We make the playoffs. We make the World Series. Cool it. You're going to pitch every 5 days. You can go all game if you want. lead the league in innings, but you're not pitching every 4 days. Oops. So there. And then they have the second best player in baseball in Mookie Betts. Okay.
I disagree.
Cody Bellinger, also an MVP guy.
Second best player? Who are you?
Mookie Betts. He was just voted the second best player in baseball.
No. I disagree.
Who is it?
I think Aaron Judge is.
Oh my God. Get out of here. And I say this, listen, he actually skill-wise, right? He could be. But the dude's hurt. I had him on my fantasy team last year. Can't stay healthy.
I told you not to draft him
in the World Series.
I told you not to draft Aaron Judge. I told you not to.
It's whatever. Yeah, so why wouldn't I draft the second best player in the league?
Because I wanted
the fourth round of that draft, by the way. Steal. But here's what I'm saying. You got that. Then hold up, Padres, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, LeMay, however you say his name, Musgrove, Paddock, all great starters. Listen, Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, LeMay, that might be the best starting three. But then after that, that's when the Dodgers take over really there too. Obviously, Yu Darvish had a big bounce back year, but
I was about to say Darvish. I'm the jury's still out.
Listen, Blake Snell, World
Series.
Snell,
yeah. Snell's one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Again, I forget. He was on my fantasy team last year. LeMay, he strikes out a ton of dudes. I know people might not know who he is. Look him up. The dude throws Ched, and he strikes dudes out, okay? They have him projected at 187 strikeouts, and he'd be behind Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. Dude gets a lot of Ks there. And again, they project him to have the lowest ERA on the team of all those pitchers. Then obviously the lineup. Here's the thing. The Dodgers have a great lineup, right? Great lineup. It fits very well together, all their guys. But Grissom, Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, Pham, Myers, Cronenworth, who had a great year last year, and then Austin Nola, who's one of the best top 5 catchers in the league, hitting-wise. That's a pretty good lineup. Now, can they all stay healthy? There's some older dudes in there. There's some older dudes in the Dodgers lineup.
It's not better than the Dodgers, Nick.
So right now, I do think the Dodgers overall win more games. But in a series, they're going to play each other. They're in the same division.
Dude, no one's
who has the better record right now, Brandon, in the regular season? Dodgers, Padres.
Dodgers. I think their roster superior at every level. I think their hitting is better. I think their starting pitching is better. I think their bullpen's better. I think literally every aspect of the Dodgers organization is better than the Padres. Every single one.
I'm going to say the Padres in the regular season have, in a series, head-to-head to the Dodgers, will beat them. You want to know why, Brandon? You want to know why? You watch sports just as much as I do. The Padres are going to take every regular season game against the Dodgers like it's Game 7 of the World Series. Guarantee it. Where the Dodgers, they're going to be chilling. Been there, done that. They don't have to get up for those type of games. So, again, I think the Padres, and I'm not saying they blow them out. I don't know how many games they play. It might be, 8-6 in series. I don't know. But the Padres are going to take it so much bigger than the Dodgers are. Now, we go playoff time. I could say Dodgers, no doubt. But in the regular season, I'm saying Padres win.
I don't think so. I think the Dodgers will make a point. Look, remember those Warriors team back in 2014, 2015, 2016 when they were top dog?
Yeah, I know.
And everyone brought their A game. Well, guess what? The Warriors they won 67 games. They won 73 games. Then they won 65 games. They showed up regardless, even though everyone was giving their best. I think the Dodgers are that team this year. I think the Dodgers are that great.
All right.
I really do.
I think they're World Series champs again. But again, I think the whole Padres taking it like a World Series, Dodgers chilling.
No one beats the Dodgers, man, and I'm a Yankees fan. It's going to be hard, man, because the Yankees don't even have the starting pitching.
No, they don't. That's going to hurt the Yankees there.
Severino's got to come back and be a Cy Young type guy for them to have a chance. And Domingo Germán, who won 18 games before he got suspended for what. There's being an idiot.
There's going to be some great series this year between the Blue Jays and the Yankees because there's going to be a lot of offense. A lot of offense.
And don't sleep on the Rays, man. They just rebuild every year.
I mean, they're just in the World Series. Hard to sleep on them. They just gave up.
Well, they lost.
Yeah, and they also gained
Snell.
one of the best prospects in baseball.
They got Chris Archer back too.
Yeah, I mean, nice 5-starter, you know.
Yeah, I know, but
so all right, that's baseball talk. I'm excited to get into baseball, Brandon. I don't know about you, man, but I didn't get into it as much last year with the COVID year. I'm ready for it this year. I feel like I've been drained from baseball. Just getting to coach it. I didn't get to coach it last year. I'm really excited for some baseball.
Real quick, I just want to say football ends. We're kind of in that lull. Like I watch a little bit of NBA here and there. You know, and I've done this in years past, but I'm really, really getting into it. I love golf, playing it. It's always fun. As a kid, I used to hate watching golf. Now, as I played golf more and more and I understand the game more and more, I would watch it with my dad most Sundays. It took until this year for me to just fall in love with watching it on TV. I literally last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, I watched the entire day. I started on the Golf Channel. I turned it to CBS. I literally could watch golf all day long. I would enjoy myself greatly. These guys, I just want to say real fast, are absolutely amazing. People do not realize how good these guys are. Until you go out on a golf course and you play and you're like, holy shit, how do these guys do it? Every single shot seems precise, except for Jordan's speed. His drives are terrible. I could hit it in the fairway more often than he can. But that's beside the point. I just had to throw that in there. But
it's actually funny you say that because one of the segments I was going to talk about today was is golf back. And, you know, again, we can say that for next week. But yeah, the Max Homa and gosh, man.
I did watch Sunday. I didn't watch all day like I wanted to. But yeah, Max Homa. How about what's his name? God, who's the guy who choked?
Tony Finau.
Oh my God, he can't win.
It's at Puerto Rico Open, right? That's the curse right now. But again,
he cannot win.
Him, I think he's a cool dude, and getting Max Homa back to a big time win. He lost his tour card, believe it or not, and got it back. So that's just a cool thing. He's a guy that really just bashes people for their bad golf swings on Twitter. If you ever got time, go look at it. He's a pretty funny dude. But yeah, so maybe we'll talk about that next week. Is golf back? I'll give you a sneak peek. Yes, it is. All right. So last thing on the docket, our top 5 sports documentaries. Obviously, there's plenty out there. Honestly, when I was trying to look up, I was trying to get the specific names for some of these. It was like, well, I've never seen that documentary. That's a pretty cool documentary. So yeah. I'm hoping, you know, after looking at that, I've already written down 2 or 3. I've never seen the OJ stuff, so I would like to see that. Maybe my stuff will change. I've heard it's very good from multiple people. But again, Brandon, what are your top 5 sports documentaries?
Starting at 5, and this is a guy that you hear about, but we're kind of in a different generation. We're a little too young. I wasn't really competent at this point when this all happened, but the Ryan Leaf documentary, I watched it maybe a few years ago with my dad, and I never understood like how big of a bust this guy was, and he ended up in prison. Like some real shit happened. Like he was abusing drugs, I think, or what did he do? Didn't he do something with taxes or something dumb, and he ended up in jail?
He said he was a bad personality guy too.
Yeah, like how would you like to be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL? It's a little different.
No injuries, just bust.
Nothing. Just bust being an asshole. That's basically what it boiled down to. Like it's crazy. Like he was hyped up. He was big time hyped up. Was he 2004 with Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger? No, wait.
He was
no.
Brady, wasn't he?
He was when?
Wasn't he Brady draft 01?
Was he? Okay, so it was a few. Okay, so the Chargers was bad. Chargers were terrible because of that. Yeah. So they had the number 2 overall pick in 2004, something like that. Oh, that was my 5. Number 4, I have. This isn't like a documentary on TV. I have like these VHS tapes that tells me how old I am. of the Super Bowl, like each and every Super Bowl, and I used to watch it
I used to see
every
the series once. I love those things.
dude. They're great, man.
It's
They're
like
so
back
great
from
because
and then all the way to the final game, right?
yeah, no, it starts at Super Bowl one, and it taught me history. This is how I learned. Like my dad bought me all these VHS of basketball, football, or baseball, and stuff like that when I was a kid. It's like the whole overview of stuff. But the Super Bowl one's my favorite. I would always watch it Super Bowl Sundays. That was my thing. I don't have a VHS player anymore, which sucks. But I mean that's just how it is. So it would play. So Super Bowl one, I remember Green Bay versus Oakland. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Was it Green Bay, Kansas City? God, I can't even remember.
Yes, that was first Super Bowl.
Green Bay, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Then Green Bay, Oakland was 2, and then Jets were 3. Joe Namath, and it's got like him doing the finger. I remember that. Kansas City won 4, I think, or they were in it. I don't know. Regardless, that I love that. It taught me history. Obviously, I can't remember stuff right now, but that one's my number 4. Number 3, Fab Five documentary on ESPN.
Oh, great one.
Oh my gosh, man.
I forgot.
Again, we weren't really alive for that. So, I hear always talking about this, talking about that.
I just remember pro Chris Webber.
Yeah. Oh, well, I remember him with the Kings,
yeah,
Chris Webber, but I didn't know like the whole thing. They were all like highly recruited, obviously. I think they were all pretty local too, if I'm not mistaken.
Great job at Michigan, which hurts me to say, but
Michigan. And it's crazy, when we were kids really growing up, Michigan had a lull until like Trey Burke went there. They were pretty bad at basketball. So like from the Fab Five until like maybe like 2010, I remember Michigan being terrible. And I always remember hearing Fab Five, Michigan. Like as a kid, I'm thinking, Michigan, they stink at basketball. Sorry. For number 3 or Juwan number 2
was his name, sorry.
Huh?
I said Trey Howard. It's
Juwan Howard, yeah. Number 2, maybe you can guess what I'm going to say. The U documentary. I mean, that's top tier. That's top tier. And then for number 1, this is recent, but I really enjoy the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. Yeah. So I'm going to put that 1. I really, really, really enjoyed it because, again, we were born when all this was happening. I didn't really live through it. I barely remember Michael Jordan playing on the Wizards. I remember few instances. I
remember of MJ.
I remember him with the Wizards, like scoring 40 or whatever. We were like 7. I mean, that's about.
You and I were born when they started the second three-peat.
Yeah, exactly. So like getting to see this, and obviously Michael Jordan's hyped up more than any athlete that I know of, but I never got to see him play. So like seeing this and seeing the backstory of him, I didn't know his dad was murdered. That's insane. Like what the heck? There's a lot to that. Like his gambling problem, yeah, I kind of knew that with the golf, but it seemed like it was a lot more than you think. Dennis Rodman, I knew he was crazy. Obviously, you see the hair and everything, but the fact that Dennis Rodman would literally skip practice and go party in Vegas for a weekend bender and then come back and they allow it like that. I don't know. I find that very fun. It's not just like a whole Michael Jordan thing. They talked about the entire team, about the team that went 6-0 basically in the finals, and that's pretty cool to see. I didn't know Dennis Rodman basically picked up a basketball when he was 20 years old. He went to a community college, and Scottie Pippen went to Central Arkansas or something like that.
Yeah, or Arkansas drafts there, right?
It's crazy.
So, all right. Well, I'll go say Last Dance is in mine. I don't have a top 5 like in order, but I would say Last Dance definitely in mine, just because, like you said, we know as sports fans, Michael Jordan, Space Jam was right up our alley. But the whole, like, all the other stuff that went on, we didn't get to see the regular seasons. Whenever you see highlights, it's a flu game. It's all those type of things, so it was cool to see that. Then the next one, this is one of my favorites. I know a lot of people haven't seen it 30 for 30. I think it came out 2010, 2011. Winning Time, Reggie Miller versus the New York Knicks.
Oh, I have seen that one.
Documentary. Obviously talking about his sister in the beginning and how like he was like, yeah, I just had my best game of my high school career. I just had 40 points, whatever. And his sister comes in, Cheryl Miller, and he was like, this is one of the best scenes. He's like, oh, so how'd you do? And then it cuts to the news clip where she scored 100 points in a high school game. And it was like, even on his best game, he wasn't better than his sister, obviously Hall of Fame. Besides, before Steph Curry, you say Ray Allen too. He was the best 3-point shooter ever.
I mean, he's still in the conversation.
Second, I'd say. But yeah, just the whole rivalry there. And he was one of the best trash talkers along with Larry Bird.
Dude, but that Knicks team, John Starks, man, that team, Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Ewing, yeah. I saw a crazy conspiracy theory on Patrick Ewing's sidebar here. The NBA was getting in a lot of stuff. A lot of NBA players are getting in trouble with different cocaine things and different felonies and all that. NBA was kind of going down. And then all of a sudden there's a conspiracy that the NBA made sure Patrick Ewing, one of the number one prospects in college basketball, coming in the NBA, went to a big market like the Knicks. They said they bent slightly the corners of the Knicks lottery card. That was the first year they did the lottery for any team that didn't make the playoffs. And what's his name flips over a bunch of cards and picks the one with the bent ends. So he went to the Knicks. Just a little crazy conspiracy theory. But back to this. Next one, if anybody's ever seen it, it's a good one. I knew nothing about this girl. And then once I saw it, loved her, thought her whole story and everything was awesome. Lolo, SEC Stories documentary about Lolo Jones, Olympic hurdler. Great documentary. It talks about how she was the number one hurdler in the world. Then on the gold medal race, on the last hurdle, she trips over the hurdle and finishes last. But it talks about her training for that next Olympics. So that was really cool. So if you get any time, watch that. Some pretty hyped up scenes there. She went to LSU, big LSU person. Then another one, fastball, really good one. Talking pretty much the evolution of throwing hard and all that stuff everywhere from Sandy Koufax, Nolan Ryan, obviously to Aroldis Chapman and guys now. Really cool talking about the evolution and just the science behind a fastball and how bad technology was at measuring it. So we don't know, was Satchel Paige and Sandy Koufax really 500? We don't know because the science is so different now. So yeah, I think they were taking the measurement from when the ball crossed home plate and not out of hand, where today it's out of hand. So it slows down obviously with all the air drag. Really cool stuff on fastballs, the documentary. Cool one. And then the last one, I was not that great at basketball, but every season before basketball season, I loved watching More Than a Game, the LeBron James documentary of him at St. Vincent, St. Mary.
I've never seen it.
What? The Forever Song with Drake?
I know, I've never seen it.
Oh, that thing used to get me hyped for basketball season. Every basketball season, I had to watch that before I started basketball.
I guess I need to watch it.
Just as a high school kid, obviously LeBron James, when we were in middle school, high school, that 09, 10, 11, 12 was LeBron, not the NBA. It was LeBron's league. So again, obviously still probably could say that at times, but yeah, More Than a Game, really cool. Talks about literally his childhood all the way up till the NBA. Honorable mentions though, there was one, if you've never seen the Jeremy Lin documentary,
I haven't.
Really good too. Really good. Like he's sleeping on his brother's couch, playing in the NBA, all this stuff. Really cool. So yeah. All right. Well, you got any closing words there, Brandon?
No, I say no every week and then I have a closing word. But I just want to reiterate what I was saying a little earlier. I think people should give golf a shot. I think you should try to play it.
I got a tee right here in my hand.
I'm saying this because my dad, he retired recently, and he's always wanted to play golf, but he's the type of guy who gets really frustrated when he's not really good at things. The issue is golf, I don't care who you are. I don't care how athletic you are. You can't just be good at it. Yeah. Like you literally have to put in the time and energy to practice. And then eventually you'll be able to go on a course, and then you'll be able to practice more. And, you know, you go on the driving range, you might hit it far or whatever. It might go a little right, a little left. But until you get on that course, you realize it doesn't matter how far you hit it. You need to hit it straight.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to putt. You got to be able to chip. It's all mental, because here's the thing. If you have one bad shot and you're like my dad, you get like pissed off, your round's over. Good luck. You're not doing shit.
We're not good
And
enough.
I want people to realize how fun of a sport it is. It's an awesome sport. I hate when people talk shit on golf. I really believe it's up there with one of the best activities you can do.
Yeah, and two, people are like, well, it's too expensive. If you really look for it, there's
It's not.
deals all over the place.
Dude, you know, you and I, we played what, $20 after work in
Yeah.
the spring last
Even if
year?
it's just 9 holes, you know what I mean? And another thing too, I know a couple buddies of mine, there's deals like, especially at the beginning and the end of the season, you pay $100, you get unlimited golf for a month. And if anybody
Yeah.
knows, $100 for 3 golf days a week is unreal. That's unreal. So again, yes, quarantine made a lot more people into golf. Obviously, golf, some exciting young people in golf now
Yes.
too, which is cool. And obviously, guys like Tiger, hopefully he's doing well. Still at the end of the career, Phil. So you're getting to see some of the goats and the young up and comers at the same time. It's really cool. So, all right. Well, again, my name's Nick.
I'm Brandon.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.